Greetings, punks, goths, metalheads, herberts, herbetters, Martians and subterranean folk. How are you all doing? My name's John and this is the Health Anarchist channel. Well, I thought I'd just have a sit down and chat with you guys today. I hope you're all doing well. Starting to get a little bit colder now at this time of year, hence I've got this jumper on. First time I've had it on this year. Thanks to Sanes for sending me this. Sanes has got a great goth YouTube channel. Go and check her out. I'll put a link in the description below. So I just got a text message just before I started this video today and I thought, oh, this must be important. And I looked at it and it was going on about a parking fine for my car and I had to pay it. And like, that's funny because I don't have a car. I've had a couple of motorbikes in the past, but I've not got a car. And it was one of these scam messages. So yeah, just be wary of things like that, as I'm sure many of you are wary of it. So as you've probably noticed, a lot of my videos are outdoors walking videos, and I just wanted to talk a bit about why I do that. And I think some people have an adventurous soul and some people don't, and it's perfectly fine either way. So I wanted to give you guys a bit of history about me and why I have an adventurous soul. And it's quite a long story really. It goes back to childhood. Some of the first childhood adventures I can remember, when I was a child, we moved to Lincolnshire, which is the countryside, for a few years, and I remember being about 6 and we used to go on these big afternoon adventures, and I can remember walking for miles with my brothers and a group of friends. And I remember once we found this old junkyard and it was full of old fire engines and military vehicles, and as a child it was amazing, fascinating, but we got chased off by the owner because rightly so, it is a dangerous place for kids to play. But I remember doing that, and I remember going along streams, wading in little streams and walking quite a long way, just following and seeing where the stream went. So sort of sense of adventure went from an early age with me. And I remember being a little bit older, maybe being about 8 or 9, and we'd heard that there was a Roman well in the area, and this was fascinating. So that was another afternoon we decided to go and find this ancient Roman well, and by the time we got there it wasn't actually much to look at. It was a field with cows, and there was like this fenced off pond in the middle, which was a well at one point, but we found it and it was great fun finding it. And at about that same time, I remember we heard stories from older people that there was a German prisoner of war camp in the area, because in World War II they used to put a lot of the German prisoners that were captured in the countryside to help work the fields and do the farm work. So we was determined to find this. And remember, we went on a bike ride and it was like probably about 4 or 5 miles, and we found it. And it was like a circular walled area, quite a big area, and it was mainly used by cows. So it was like used to round cows up, I think, and there was like the remains of old huts and stuff inside, like corrugated steel, but it was all collapsed. But that was another good adventure I remember. Remember at that age the worst thing was in the summer, if you was like quite far away from home and you had no drink, or you had no money to get a drink. That was really bad. But yeah, I remember those times. So from a young age I was like quite adventurous and interested in doing interesting things. And I remember when I was a bit older, when I was a teen, when I was about 14, me and my friend went up to this place called Alderley Edge on the train, which wasn't far from Manchester, and we'd heard that there was caves there, so we wanted to go and have a look ourselves and explore these caves, because at that time I was into playing Dungeons and Dragons, so I suppose it was a bit linked to that, bit of an adventure. I think we'd both read Lord of the Rings and was into that kind of thing, so these caves were fascinating. And I can remember we went up there and we were struggling to find the actual caves, so we asked this elderly gentleman that we came across if he'd show us where the caves was, or if he knew where the caves was. So this elderly gentleman, in a very long-winded way, was like telling us about the caves, but first he wanted to recite us these Christian prayers and poems. He pulled this book out and he's like reading it. All we wanted to do was find the caves, and he's like making us go through this long rigmarole before he told us where they were. And I can remember it was funny at the time because we was reciting these prayers, and me and my friend was just looking at each other trying not to laugh because it's like totally ridiculous. The guy, it was just comical, even because he was so serious, I think. And the guy was standing in a big pile of dog crap, and there's all dog crap up the bottom of his trousers and on his shoes, and you know, we both clocked this and we was like trying to hold our laughter in. But anyway, in the end he told us where the caves were and we went to have a look. So that was another adventure that I had. So if we move onwards to me being an adult, I think my interest now, and as an adult it was more like ancient stone circles. I still find them fascinating. They're one of my favourite places to find. And spooky old cemeteries, me being into Goth, you know, I love things like spooky old cemeteries. The more overgrown and derelict the better. And spooky old derelict abandoned buildings, especially when they're in old forests. I mean, I love stuff like that, as I'm sure a lot of you guys do. As I am now, an adventure for me is going exploring new places where I've not explored before, going on to moorland and exploring new routes. And there's so much moorland where I live. I mean, there's just almost an infinite number of walks and routes you can try out. And it's just that sense of adventure, of doing something different and doing something new. So what I'm going to ask you to do today, if you don't mind, is if you're an adventurous soul like me, and you like going out hiking and walking and adventures, please say in the comments below what started you off. At what age did you start off? Was it as a kid or as a teen or as an adult? I'd really be interested to see what you think about this and what your views are. And what I think it is with walking outdoors and hiking, I think it's either in you or it isn't. I mean, I suppose it could be dormant in some people and they might discover it, you know, at a later period in life, but I think often it comes from being interested in this thing from a very early age. For example, where I live, we're absolutely spoilt for choice for places to walk, and we're surrounded by hills all around us, and some of them are very high hills, and a lot of the people that have lived here all their life that I've spoke to, they've been surrounded by this, but they've never been up to the tops, they've never been up the hills, and I find that fascinating. And maybe because they've been brought up with this and it's normal, it's just not something what they wonder about, it's always been there. I moved to the area from Manchester, so as soon as I saw this beautiful countryside, I wanted to explore it straight away. But yeah, I think it does really depend on a lot of different circumstances and what kind of person you are. For some people, they're just not interested in outdoors walking. Fair enough, you know, we can all be into what we're interested in. And one of the other pulls to the countryside for me as an adult, what draws me out is it's so beneficial to your physical and mental well-being. It really helps me keep on top of anxiety. It doesn't cure it, it's not magic like that, but it helps reduce it right down and make it much more manageable. So I do a lot of walking to, you know, to manage my own anxiety, you know, and even when I'm depressed, it can uplift me a little bit and take the darkest edges off that. And for mental well-being and physical, I can't recommend outdoors walking enough. It's also being outdoors and having that sense of space, not being cramped in like sardines, you know, in urban areas, and just being able to get out and have some space and peace of mind. I do some group walks where I go with walk groups and enjoy that social aspect of it. I do enjoy socialising with people, but it's also just as important for me to have that solitude and solo time. So yeah, I enjoy that. I mean, I guess with some people, you know, I'd share that solo time if it's not someone who doesn't talk. I guess I would share that sort of solo time with certain people that are, you know, not the sort of person that's talking incessantly in your ear. Like, we all have a different rhythm how we talk. You know, it's all right having a bit of talk, like, you know, that's a nice view over there, isn't it? Then, you know, you have a bit of a pause and a bit of quiet while you walk, and I think that sort of person would be great. But with some people, you get that incessant, non-stop, and I think it sort of break my peace of mind and mess with it. So yeah, I do a lot of solo walks for that reason. I think the only way round that is if you got a gag and gag the other person, and then you know, solve that problem. Only joking. But yeah, I think solo time's good. Or, you know, if you get another walker that likes a bit of peace and solitude and, you know, just wants a bit of chill time, I suppose that'd work out too. So I noticed I've got quite a few new subscribers lately. So cheers guys, you guys are awesome. It really helps the channel and it really encourages me to keep doing these videos for you guys. And for all you older subscribers, you guys rock. And you know I appreciate you guys and all your comments and interactions. So I'm going to wrap this video up now. So until the next video, don't forget, be different, stay weird and stay free. Bye.